Hello mathematicians, today we are going to be talking about rational number operations and more specifically decimal multiplication. So we're going to follow a little bit different set of rules than we did when we were adding or subtracting decimals. When we multiply, we don't have to worry about lining up that decimal point like we do when we're adding or subtracting. So we just stack the numbers in the most logical way or the easiest way possible, perform multiplication, and then at the end we worry about that decimal. Alright, so if we look at number 1, we have 6 2/10 times 4. So I'm going to stack them like this, and I'm not going to worry about the negative sign. Not going to worry about that negative sign or the decimal point until the end. So I'm just going to multiply. I'm going to take 4 times 2, which would be 8, and 4 times 6, which would be 24. Now, to figure out where I want that decimal point to be, I'm going to count how many numbers are after the decimal in my problem. And here I have 1. So my decimal point is going to go 1 value in. Now, I said I wasn't going to worry about that negative sign until my answer. So if I have a negative times a positive, my answer is going to be negative. So this would be the answer to my problem. Alright, let's take a look at number 2. I have negative 4 1/10 and 5 1900ths. So again, I'm not going to worry about my decimal point. I'm not going to worry about my negative sign. I'm just going to stack the numbers in the easiest way possible. And stacking for multiplication, you want to put the number with the most digits or the most values on top and the number with the least amount of values on the bottom. So that would be 5 1900ths. Oops. And 4 1/10. And we're going to multiply. So I'm going to take this 1 times 9, which is 9, 1 times 1, which is 1, 1 times 5, which is 5. So I've multiplied all my values there. Now I'm going to multiply here. So I need to put that 0 place value holder. 4 times 9 would be 36. So I put my 6, carry my 3, wrong. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 would be 7. 4 times 5 would be 20. So just like normal multiplication, I'm going to add these values together. 9 plus 0 is 9. 1 plus 6 would be 7. 5 plus 7 would be 12. 0 plus 1 is 1. And 2 plus nothing is 2. So now for my decimal point, I have 1, 2, 3 values behind the decimal. So I'm going to move my decimal point 1, 2, 3 spots in. So I have 3 values behind the decimal. I have a negative times a positive, so my answer is negative. Alright, so I'm going to do 1 and 2, and then I'm going to jump down and do 7 and 8. And alright, so if I do 7 here, I'm not going to worry about my negative signs. I'm not going to worry about the decimal. I'm just going to stack them. So I want 5 6/10, 1 9/10, and multiply. It just so happens that my decimal point is lined up, but for multiplication, that's not what we're going for. They just happen to have 2 values in both numbers. 9 times 6 would be 54, so I'm going to write my 4 here and carry my 5. 9 times 5 would be 45, plus 5 would be 50. Put my 0 place value holder. 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 5 is 5. I'm going to add these numbers. I'm going to come back up here because I'm running out of room on my screen. So I have 504 plus 560. 4 plus 0 is 4, 0 plus 6 is 6, and 5 plus 5 would be 10. Now to decide where my decimal point goes, I count. I have 1, 2 values behind the decimal, so I'm going to move my decimal point in 2 spots. I have a negative times a negative, which does result in a positive value, so this is my final answer. All right, let's take a look at number 8. Again, I'm not going to worry about my negative sign. I'm not going to worry about my decimal. I have 6/10 times 6 2/10. So the best way to stack these, in my opinion, would be 6 2/10 times 6/10. Just because of that 0 on the left, it's going to be easier to multiply. So I'm going to take 6 times 2, which would be 12, carry my 1. 6 times 6 is 36, plus that 1 would be 37. Now to decide where my decimal point goes, I have 1, 2 values behind the decimal, so I'm going to move that decimal point in 2 spots. Negative times a negative equals a positive, so this would be my final answer. All right, question 3, 4, 5, and 6 are going to be your homework for this evening or this afternoon. Happy mathing.